Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's episode 279 of the Audible Farm Podcast, and this episode is brought to you by the Fort Dodge Fine Arts Association. The Fort Dodge Fine Arts Association is all about supporting and connecting local artists, musicians, and creators right here in north central Iowa. Head over to fdfineartsassociation.org to find their community calendar packed with upcoming concerts, art shows, theater events, and more. While you're there, check out their podcast, FDT. It's available wherever you listen to podcasts. That's the Fort Dodge Fine Arts Association, celebrating creativity and community in the Fort Dodge area. This week, I'm sitting down with Mason O'Brien. I have not sat down with him and talked to him on the podcast before. This one's going to be a fun one. I've known Mason. You know, it's weird because there's this big, small circle of musicians in north central Iowa, and I feel like it's that way everywhere. Central Iowa is kind of the same way. Kind of get out east a little bit, same way out west. It just kind of there's these pockets of people, and we all kind of know each other, but we don't all really know each other. So that's one of the reasons I do the podcast. And this one's great. It's cool to sit down and talk to somebody who maybe has learned some of the lessons that life and music have to teach you before I learned them, which is kind of cool to hear. It's neat to, have somebody who's felt the way I felt about music and then, as a youngster and then moved past it faster than I did. We're all selective, to some degree when we're younger, but I don't want to ruin this one too much. This one's really good. It's super good. This is episode number 279 with Mason O'Brien, everybody.
It's the Audible Farm Podcast with your host, Peter Stockdale.
I'm sitting down today with Mason O'Brien. Mason, you have not been on the podcast, but you've been mentioned on the podcast recently.
A time or two, yeah.
Yeah. I was going to say, in years past, Kirk Hart, he had mentioned you on the podcast too as well. We're going to get into some of that stuff here. I know that you and Brady are brothers, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so that's cool because I've seen Brady on other podcasts I've helped produce and things like that. So this is going to be a fun one because you and I we don't know each other. This is literally the first time we've talked.
I know. Well, and I feel like anywhere with music going on or out and about, I just kind of sit back in the corner, man. So I'm not the most outgoing person, but we've seen each other around, at shows and stuff. But it's great to actually get to do this.
Yeah, it's one of those weird things where I'm kind of the same way. I'm kind of outgoing, whatever. I got a podcast, I guess, whatever. But I don't know. I go to shows and I'm very guilty of sitting in the corner.
As am I.
Example. So the Pork Tornadoes posted a thing recently and it was just this is where everybody stands at our shows. And the one of them was Mike's fans stand here, and it's the back corner, and Mike's the drummer, and he's the guy I know. So when he comes to town, I usually talk to him or something, Yeah. So and I was that's so spot on. I'm always in the back corner, just sitting back there, just yeah, all right.
Maybe they're calling you out.
Yeah, maybe. It could be. You never know. But yeah, so I don't know. There's just kind of some fun stuff. But yeah, the internet thing's weird because we've been Facebook friends for a while. We know. We're acquaintances with people that have played in bands that we know each other. I jam, go to jam nights. Eric goes jam nights sometimes. I run into him a lot. So you're in a band with him. So it's just kind of fun that I don't know. It's that whole we know each other, but we don't know each other. Facebook
exactly,
friends. I see the stuff you're posting. I'm kind of up with you on your life, but then again, I walked in here and I was just what do you do for a living? So we don't really know each other.
Yeah. No, so it's cool. Yeah. Get to know each other a little bit better. And
yeah, let's get started on this. So what got you into music? Was it the drive to learn an instrument? Were you in school and everyone had to learn one? So you're I played the trumpet, or what did one of your buddies play, or what was it?
Well, I guess the whole taking lessons or anything like that started with my mom. So she is also an incredible piano player.
Oh, cool. I didn't know
plays
that.
with churches and stuff like that. Did that all of her life. So when me and Brady were little, she wanted us to do some lessons. And Brady took to the piano because he's just the piano wizard.
Yeah.
But I didn't really like the piano as much, so in school, you mentioned the trumpet. I used to rock the crap out of a trumpet back in 8th grade.
There you go. Trumpet players are usually loud people, though, right?
Very loud, yeah. So it makes sense. I took the guitar. So
there you go.
I started playing guitar about when I was 12. I started taking lessons from Chris Carr.
Cool.
And then Jeremy came in, and I transferred over to him when Chris was getting busy in the shop. And I took to that, and I did that for 4 or 5 years with them and loved every second of that.
So what year was that you started playing guitar then?
It would have been,
or like how old would you have been maybe?
I was 12. So,
oh, snap.
Yeah. Well, 12 or 13, somewhere in there. I was, so about 2013, 2014 is when I started.
Wow. 12 years old, 13. What, like that's, I mean, I guess I started at like 15 or 16. So, okay. But like, I feel like that's so much early. Like,
well, I mean, nothing really stuck that early. I guess it took a few years before, like, at first I was just kind of going because Mom really encouraged it, and I won't say push it on me, but she was really encouraging towards it, and I'm glad she did, obviously, because guitar is just my favorite hobby now. But it didn't really stick till I was about that 15, 16 range.
So you try piano. And that was probably before the trumpet then?
Yes.
Okay,
yep.
So then you finally get to do the trumpet, and that's maybe a year or two before you do guitar, right?
Yeah, I think it was, so I think it was 6th grade. So all of middle school I played the trumpet. Mm-hmm. I think 1 year into high school, but the guitar was kind of my thing when I really started that.
So I remember when I was like playing trumpet and stuff in school, and then I was like, I kind of want to learn the guitar or whatever, but like there was this thing where it's like, and this is going to sound maybe like small-minded of me, but I'm like, this what I'm doing now is like not even the same thing as like what I see on MTV.
Sure.
Like, I'm playing the trumpet in a concert band. Like, this doesn't exist in pop culture, or whatever.
Yes.
It's almost like, Asian food and like American food they're both food, mm-hmm. but they're not the same thing, and for me to even just say like Asian food, I'm kind of like clumping them all together, and they're not even the same thing. But like, I feel like that was like the analogy in my brain. And when I finally like wanted to play the guitar, I almost like didn't even know how to go about it, because like guitar players don't have sheet music.
No, that is the bane of our existence, man.
And so there was like something about it where it's like I had to figure out how to do this new thing that I had no clue how to do. Like, did that ever like cross your mind when you were kind of like learning new stuff?
So when I started with Chris, he was trying to, it's funny you mentioned sheet music, he was trying to incorporate how the guitar neck laid out on a piano keys or vice versa,
That's how you do it.
Yeah. And like I said, I didn't really take to that so much. And then when I switched over to Jeremy, he showed me tab music, which is, bread and butter guitar players.
Yep.
But
cheat sheets.
looking back, man, like, I always wish I would have looked more into how the two intertwine, mm-hmm. And then actually, learn the sheet music and the correct theory and all that stuff. But I don't know.
So this is the other thing. When I started learning music theory, music theory to an extent, right?
Yeah,
okay, so you kind of know like this is a key and these kind of fit in here, and generally speaking, so you got like the basics, and that's like what you really need.
Yeah.
Have you ever like gone back to a piano and been like, oh, this makes too much sense now? Because like there's times where like
here and there, I wish I would go back more to a piano, but every time I do, like for blues, for instance, I love the blues, mm-hmm. and it's just seeing the boxes on the piano. It's like, oh man, this did make sense. And then looking back, like all my old, all the notes and everything Chris gave me, it's like, man, I almost wish I could go back and like take those same lessons mm-hmm. now.
Ooh,
with the stuff I know now. Just barely on the outside of what he was trying to explain to me. I wish I could go back and learn that.
That's like the worst part about being an adult is you don't have like the free time to do like I honestly would go back to Iowa Central and just for fun take a couple music theory classes.
Yes.
Like I took a music theory class in high school, which was actually just the Iowa Central curriculum. They like went and bought the book and then like taught it at our high school senior year. And so that's where like I got my music theory. I got there basically like 1 semester worth of theory taught to me, and I learned it on a piano, and it was, my brain couldn't figure out how to put it on a guitar. I was like, there's these patterns on guitar, but for what I'm doing with the piano, I don't use just these basic patterns. I'm using like different stuff. You know, I would write stuff out. You know, it was just different. I was flexing different muscles.
Yeah.
And it took me until I was deep into my 20s before it was finally like, oh,
yeah, then it.
okay, I see what we're doing here. You know, okay. So I mean, that's the thing I wish I could do is like exactly like you said, just kind of go back and take these lessons again. Yeah. You know, I don't know.
Well, I mean, if Chris sees this, man, like, thank you for everything you tried to show me. I'm sorry for not trying harder, man.
I'm almost glad I didn't. I haven't taken lessons from anyone, so I'm kind of glad because I definitely would have been exactly like you. I'd been like, oh, I wish this stuck harder then. But you know, sometimes it's like there's just like something that's the light bulb moment, or like one person explains something in the way that just actually makes sense to you, and you're like, oh, okay, so that means this, and that means this person years ago that was telling me this, that means this. And I hate that stuff.
Yeah,
I mean,
so many bubbles, and then they all start connecting. It's like, oh man, like, yeah. Well, and then like you were saying too, in your last solo one, was it the last one you talking about YouTube and being able to learn? Man, so like, just exactly like you were saying, there's so many different people, even just like showing guitar tab or lessons about theory, just everything, and they all explain everything a little bit differently, but it might make sense to different people. Find it reaches the people that they need to find to make sense to.
Yeah, but if I have to look at Marty Schwartz's dumb hat,
dude.
And listen, no, I'm just kidding. I know Marty watches this. No, I'm just kidding. Marty doesn't know who I am, but no, like that was the guy I was actually picking on in that without ever saying his name. So you have to listen to both episodes to figure out what's going on. But yeah, I don't know. There's so many times I was just watching stuff and it's like, what is this nonsense? Believe it or not, the thing that somebody explained it to me was like, this is not music theory. This is just a system I use to make sure I don't get lost while I'm playing the guitar and soloing, and they just called it the never lost system because it heavily relied on the fact of like you always have a home base, and this is your home base, and when you're done with this home base, when you get to the top, you're at your next home base.
Yes.
You know, and it's like, oh,
makes sense.
Okay, that's all right. So you only have to learn literally like one pattern on 2 strings and then just go to the next string and repeat.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, well, snap, you know, it basically deleted all the music theory and was just like, just play by the shape. And it's like, oh,
shapes.
Okay,
yeah.
Shape,
I tried to explain that to Brady. I'm like, boxes and shapes. And he's like, what are you talking about? And then he'll be like, well, this is a G sharp and this is the third and this key and all. He goes, Brady's very good with theory. And then I'm there like, yeah, shapes and phrases and boxes the most.
Dude, that's so funny too though, because if someone's like G sharp, what's the major third? Like if I had a guitar, I could be like, well, it's right here. I know like where it's, if I'm playing this note, I know where the major third is next, you know, on the next string. So it's like, but my brain doesn't automatically go like, okay, G sharp's the major third would be like what, a C, you know? So like my brain doesn't do that like instantaneously.
I gotta like make the chord and then I'm like, okay, then
it's that. It's come on, obviously it's that, people. What are we talking about? You know, like
yeah, that's Brady. He's like, obviously.
Yeah, clearly. But I feel like the piano's more built for that though. Like when I learned music theory and someone showed me a piano, they're like, this explains it, and you're like,
straight across.
Oh, those are the sharps and these are the not sharps, and this it's there. It's like it was made for that. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. That's just the big difference. I always wondered if like people that took to one instrument first compared to another, if it like changes how you think about music theory, you know? Because like I'm a shape guitar player. My last episode, I'm talking about I'm trying to play more by ear. It's not always easy, you know, and I'm trying to learn new shapes and new patterns to incorporate with these shapes, you know, and play like in a descending fashion instead of an ascending fashion, because that's where my brain sees the shapes. And, you know, I'm just trying to do, like, I wonder if people that play piano, like you said, your brother, like, has no clue what you're talking about with shapes.
Right.
He's just, I mean, he probably just goes spaces, you know? So I don't know. I wonder if it just changes how we think about that.
Like I said, I mean, I wish I would have stuck with the piano and then to all these questions, you know. So I can answer them.
Let's talk about what you did do. Like when you actually did decide to play the guitar, what was the deciding factor? Was it like Jeremy Ober looks so cool playing the guitar? Like, did you have like a cousin or a brother or honestly, like when I was growing up, I remember watching Chris Carr play guitar, and it's just and I was just like one of those kids. It's like old guys don't know how to do anything, and then you watch them play, and you're like, holy crap, these guys are good.
Yeah, I mean, I'm guilty of that, you know, thinking he's an old guy. What does he know? But then, man, I mean,
everything.
Like, everything. He knows everything. No, I remember going in, and when I was taking lessons from Chris, Jeremy would be in there, he'd be jamming in between lessons or whatever he was doing, and then vice versa. I'd be with Jeremy and see Chris, and then, like I said, a few years into it, started sticking with me, and actually enjoyed it and looked forward to going to the lessons. But my dad has always been like a 80s classic rock guy, like the 70s and 80s. Like, he loved that hair metal stuff. Like,
dude, it's the best.
Yeah.
That's my favorite, man, honestly. Like, growing up, it was always what I got to. But
so yeah, just like his Poison CDs, his Def Leppard CDs, Guns N' Roses was a big one.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, I just had this little like cheap little CD player. I'd put his CDs in and just try to play along, and it was probably so bad. My poor family having to listen to it. But that white guitar. So when Chris was at 8th Note, he had used to have the big block party or block sale right out front of his shop, and he was giving away that guitar to, if you spent like so much money that day, he'd put the receipt in, and he drew my name, and yeah, I think I was 13 when I won that. So that was a big
cool.
factor. I was like, all right, I got a cool guitar now. I can do this.
Awesome. That's super cool.
Yeah,
dude. You said Guns N' Roses. So I remember, like, okay, Guns N' Roses, we got, like Sweet Child of Mine, Welcome to the Jungle, whatever. And then I remember the first time I was probably like 15 or 16 when I like just put in Appetite for Destruction and listened to it start to finish. And I was like, these guys swear a lot. Holy crap. It was kind of like, no wonder everybody that parties likes these guys, like they're a party band. You don't really get that from Sweet Child of Mine, but it's pretty wild.
Yeah, man, what a time to be alive, and like being in your 20s through that. Come on,
dude.
Man.
There was no rules in the 80s for anybody to do anything. Like, there was no budgets for anything. Like, how much is it going to cost? Like, who cares? I'll just cut you the check when I'm done. Like, it was insane. Oh man, yeah. But I feel like that's a lot of guitar players. I don't want to say all of them because it's different now, but a lot of guitar players, I feel like that was what they were like. These guys are really proficient at their instruments. I'm going to say there's not a whole lot of that anymore, but like, maybe it's just economy of notes now, or people are just don't listen to that genre of music anymore. But like,
sure,
it was just people playing a lot of notes very fast, just partying the whole time. A lot of
distortion.
Yeah. And now it's there's not quite as much of that in existence, I would say, especially not in that fashion. And there is, but it's just not mainstream like it was then.
Very true. But good way to put it.
But I mean, even coming in here, it's like, I'm pretty sure you were playing Van Halen, right?
Oh yeah.
So you're playing some Van Halen, and I'm not talking about like on the radio. You was playing some on his guitar. When I pulled up, I'm like, oh, holy crap, that's awesome. So there's like, you could just look down that genre of music and just be like, well, there's so many people here you could look up to as like proficient guitarists, and most of them you wouldn't be like, no, that guy's not good.
Yeah. Well, and then you wonder, it's like, man, I'm sure there's interviews out there and stuff. But it's like, before YouTube, and we have access to every genre of every day and age of music forever with all the social media and everything we have. So it's like, I don't know. I know vinyl and CDs and cassettes and everything, but it's just like, I don't know. It's crazy to think about what those guys went through when, I don't want to compare myself to those big guys, but it's like when they were my age, and I was getting into it, it's just, sometimes I think about like where their mindset was at.
Yeah. Like, how do they get good at doing the stuff they do? Or like, they could like watch something and then remember it and go home and try it again. Like, we don't have, it's a throwaway society, even with like information now. There's so much information. You're just like, I'll remember that. And then a week later, you're like, I was supposed to remember that thing. I don't even remember what it was about though, but I remember I was supposed to remember something. So there's a lot of that goes on. But it makes me think about like just taking lessons. I remember there's the whole like, Satriani like did some lessons with Steve Vai, or did some lessons with Kirk Hammett. There's like those guys all have like a weird network where they all kind of sort of tie together in some capacity, which like I feel like pre-internet, that's what you had to do. If you want to go listen to new music, like you'd have to buy it. And if you didn't want to buy it, you had to go hang out with somebody else that was listening to music, and then, because I even grew up in that, I was at the tail end of that, but I still grew up in that era. So it's like, you had to be more open-minded maybe. I don't know. Like I feel like I definitely would have not done as well then as I did now, you know, growing up in the time I grew up in, but because like I just wasn't as open-minded, you know, so like I would just be like, oh, who's this? Some band I didn't find on my own. I don't care. Yeah, they obviously suck, you know. And it's like, no, this is Yngwie Malmsteen, and you're like, oh, okay, you know. So like okay, my bad, you know.
The guy.
Do you think also, like, this is going to sound crazy, but like we didn't live through that time, but do you think we have the benefit of hindsight though, where we can actually like look back and just be like, you know, at the time, and I'm not trying to pick on anyone, but it's just like, you know, like Wasp doesn't always come into the fold when people are talking about great guitarists and great bands and stuff like that or whatever, you know, like, so we get to pick out, you know, the ones where it's just like, these are the ones that rose to the top. These are the creams of the crop. Unfortunately, you always get some like Bon Jovi tossed in there or whatever. With nothing wrong with Bon Jovi.
Oh yeah, no,
honestly, but like, it's just one of those things where it's like, do you think that has the benefit for us to look back on that? Like,
I do, yes, but absolutely yes. But then kind of what you were saying before though, it's like just with so much information and so much music. I mean, I kind of feel like I find myself sometimes like I'll see like a clip on Instagram of a song. I'm like, oh, that's cool. So I try to, you know, find that band, and maybe they're not the biggest band, but then there's so much other music and so many other bands, I'll forget that song, you know. And so it's like maybe we're bombarded with, there's just so much, just everything going on. So, but that might actually even tie into what you were kind of saying. But yes, I do think that is a very good point.
Yeah, it's a weird, I don't know. Obviously, everything's a benefit and a curse, you know, in and of itself. Like you said, I remember scrolling through, you know, reels or whatever and finding like, oh, this is a fun band. And then I went and looked them up and it's like, oh, here's their music. And then I just like completely forgot they existed for like months. And then another reel showed up after a while. And it's like, oh yeah, this band exists, you know? And it's like, just because there's no mega bands anymore. There's no, what are they saying now? There's no monoculture. Not like Guns N' Roses. Everybody knew them. Everybody knew Guns N' Roses. Everybody knows the movie Jaws. Everybody knew Ghostbusters. But like nowadays, you're just like, oh, they made another Ghostbusters movie or something. You know, it's like, what's the new Jim Carrey movie? You know, like nobody knows that stuff because there's no monoculture anymore.
I do want to back up a little bit what I said though. But on the, like you said, a blessing and a curse. With there being so much, the nice thing though, besides the hindsights with all the social media and everything, is if you are making your own music, you can get it out to so many people.
True.
You know, that is a big blessing with the social media.
Yeah. I mean, it comes back to like, I think about those bands that were in those places like the Whiskey A Go-Go, you know, and it's like that was the place where all the bands hung out with each other, you know, and they all went to each other's shows, et cetera, or CBGB, you know, like all those types of places.
Their own little like networks before the
internet was a thing, you know, and then like that's not really a thing anymore. And I mean, I hate talking about things that are going to timestamp the episode, but like today there was a post that Lefties in Des Moines is closing.
Oh, really?
And it's like, you know, like it shows you how things have changed though. Like you used to go to everybody's show all the time, regardless of whether or not you were like, if you didn't have a show Friday, you go to someone else's, you know, there's a lot of that here in this town.
Absolutely.
But it doesn't happen all the time in all the other towns. And I think that's why some of the other towns, even though they have like what I would say is a semi-vibrant scene, like Des Moines, they're just like, there's a lot of shuffling around and moving of places. You know, there's no this venue, there's no that venue. Like they're all starting to close, you know, and it's,
crazy.
I don't know. I feel like that's this weird thing of like, that's the blessing and the curse. It's like, you know, do you want to go see Three Finger Betty at Lefties? And it's like, I mean, I got Three Finger Betty at home on Spotify. Why do I need to?
True.
You know, there's 48 videos of them on YouTube playing live. You know, why do I need to? There's in studio live content on that YouTube. Why would I need to go watch them? You know, it's like, oh, okay.
It's all perspective though, I guess. But yeah, that's a very good point too.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think things are different now, for the better or worse. They're just different, you know. So you start playing guitar. At what point in time do you think you're going to be a rock star and get an electric guitar and play some distortion and start a band with somebody? When does the first jam type situation come in?
Well, probably it'd be Mr. Jake Rosso coming over. So our mothers were very close when we were little. So
cool.
We just kind of grew up in the same little circle, you know. I go out to his parents' place. He come over to my folks' place, and you know, he's always been the drummer. And he's like kind of just noticing that, oh, I got a guitar, so we start jamming at my place or his place. And I don't know. Then, Lance starts hearing it. So Lance used to be, like Jake said, Lance used to be big into the jamming and everything. I used to be in the band Lefty. And so he's like started getting that itch, I'm guessing, a little bit. So he'd come out and jam with us, and then,
The kids don't get to have all the fun.
Right. Yeah, he'd come out and show us a thing or two, and we'd start jamming together. And I don't know. For a while, I never really saw myself wanting to, or I guess I just never saw myself playing in front of people or in a crowd. I guess I was just more just trying to figure the instrument out.
Is that before you started jamming with Jake?
That was before, and just kind of like right as we started jamming. I mean, he showed me Avenged Sevenfold, who is a big part of both of the way we think musically. Mm-hmm. But yeah, he showed me Avenged, so he's like, well, maybe, you could learn this song and that song and we could jam it. So I did, and, that was all fun and everything, which that also opened my mind to a whole other possibility of what can be achieved on the guitar. Mm-hmm. Stuff I had no idea or couldn't comprehend, but which again, it probably sounded horrible because I didn't learn it correctly. But no, I didn't see myself jamming in front of people. But then Jake and Lance kind of put together, they were trying to start a band with some other guys, and then I think they played a couple times, maybe not, I don't remember exactly. But then they're like, well, they sent me a Spotify set list or playlist or whatever, and they're like, well, do you want to learn these songs, maybe play with us? I was like, all right, yeah. So I learned the songs and jam with them. So then went to the jam nights and just kind of took off from there.
That's cool. I always feel like there's that weird thing where like when you first started playing guitar, you weren't just like, I'm gonna be a rock star. Like you weren't just like,
I mean, yeah, I would like pretend like in my head I was playing in front, but like I don't know, I just never I never thought I'd be.
That's interesting. And I'm gonna tie this back to something else, like, and I'm not gonna say that I'm not going to pigeonhole anybody without their consent, but your brother's kind of the same way, right?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, like, I mean, he's ludicrously talented. He could play in a bazillion bands and add something that isn't in almost any band around here, which is keyboards. But he's busy. He's got a job and he's doing stuff, and he's got his own thing going on, but he's just not somebody that wants to play live every weekend all the time,
right?
Because he wants his time to do other stuff, which makes sense, But yeah, that's interesting. So you guys obviously you're related. It makes sense, That's fun though. I don't know. So you start jamming with those guys. Was there like? Did you guys go to school together at all, or like?
Yeah. Me and Jake, we graduated in the same class, and we went to St. Ed's, which was a small school,
so extra tight.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, we grew up pretty close together.
Yeah, I guess I didn't know if you guys were like in different towns or like how that all worked.
I mean, he lived in Vincent growing up with his parents, but we played football and went to school together. So we were always
still hanging out. Still had the
ability hanging out.
Yeah, I don't know. It just makes me think about like around here, like because there's sometimes you'll hear stories about. So it's like, well, I went to Manson and they went to Fort Dodge, but we still hung out all the time. It's like, how? How did you run into each other? Like, I mean, even with the internet, it's like hard to run into other people from other schools. I felt like, I don't know. Yeah, so you started jamming out with the Section 7 guys. Did that? How much time is between that and right now your time in Section 7? So how long ago, or like what age was that you started goofing around with them? We talking like 15, 16?
Yeah, probably anywhere 15, 16, 17.
Okay.
Don't quote me on that, but somewhere in there, yeah. Sophomore, junior year of high school, I would say. Yeah.
And you're almost mid-20s, so there's still like a 7-year gap. So, like, have you always been with Section 7 from then till now?
Well, in a way, yes. I took a little hiatus, you could say, back in 2022, I think. So, just a couple years ago. And I was just going to take a break from music, kind of focus on more of a career outside of music, Basically, I moved out and I was like, oof, it's expensive to live on your own. Yeah. I was like, well, I got to figure something out. But then, in this, where we're sitting now, Brady hooked up with Scott Kirkhart to play piano with him. And then they started practicing in here, and then Brady was like, well, why don't you just come over and one night when all the guys are here? And so I did, and then Scott and I think Andy Shelley was there too that night maybe, and we just jammed something real loosely, and I was like, they're like, well, what do you want to play guitar? I'm like, I'm gonna be honest, man, I've never like played or quote unquote studied country music.
Dude, same.
You know, I'm like, man, at the time I only had that 5150 head, so I'm like, all I can make is like loud distortion noise. And Scott's like, oh, that'd be awesome, man, add a little rock to it. I'm like, all right. So I did that for a little bit. Got in a little fender bender on my motorcycle, and luckily just broke my hand, but so that put me out of playing guitar for a while. Yeah, that sucked. But so I left that and then focused on my career for a little bit, and then I think it was the New Year's Eve last year. The Eric, Lance, and Jake played at the Larimar, or were booked to for New Year's Eve, and Jake was like, well, would you want to come, do a one-time show? And I was like, all right, yeah, I'll come do that. So learned the songs they'd learned and played some of the old ones, and it was fun. And we were like, let's just do this again. So we played again and been doing that all this year since then.
Dude, that's so fun, because like that's like the same thing with like Three Finger Betty. They were like a 3-piece when I showed up, and it was just like, what happens if we had another guitarist in here? And it's like
it adds a whole other like avenue of ideas and the rhythm aspect or the harmonies, and it's awesome playing with Eric. Yeah, and I was wrong. It was 2 New Year's Eves ago.
Okay,
but
it's like 22 into 23.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So it's been a couple of years you've been back with them.
Yes.
Let's divert over to this Kirkhart stuff. So like, I don't want to say like you get roped into playing with Kirkhart, but I feel like the thing around here is like so many guitar guys around here, and this is going to sound weird, but like if you're an acoustic guy, you probably like country. Yeah. And if you're an electric guy, you probably like metal. And it's just kind of how it works. Yeah. I don't want to like pigeonhole anyone.
That's a pretty fair assumption. Yeah.
Yeah. So like a lot of us, I would say, that play leads or electric guitar in bands, probably either came from like a punk or metal or rock background, and then incorporate that into country somehow. Did you find it was difficult to do at first, or?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, I won't say completely difficult because, Andy Shelley played with Saucy, so he's a rocker at heart. But I had Scott just was like, I was like, well, I'll turn down the distortion. I had the distortion at like 1, so the amp didn't sound the greatest. He's like, oh, no, turn it up a little bit. He's like, let that little bit of rock come out. He was just really like, kind of do your own thing. And we did mostly covers. We did a handful of his songs. And doing his songs is probably what I found the most trouble with, trying to, I want to make it sound the way he, and I think Jeremy Ober recorded the majority of his leads, so I wanted to do Jeremy justice and like play the parts that Jeremy wrote correctly. But then it was, I don't know, Scott was really good at like just kind of do your own little flavor, your little twist or whatever. So that helped a lot, trying to transition over the country. And I didn't have like a Telly or a Fender amp or anything, so I mean it was its own unique sound, which was cool.
Dude, my favorite thing is showing up to shows and just people like it doesn't happen as much in country as it does in other genres, I want to say, but like every genre has that thing where it's like you gotta have a silver fronted Fender and a Telecaster if you're gonna play country, like or whatever. And if you show up with a Les Paul and a stack, they're like, what are you doing?
That's literally what I did.
but I will say this, the benefit of that is like, and this is gonna sound weird, was like that was the time where like Hardy was becoming like really mainstream.
That's exactly one. Yeah.
And Hardy, that's kind of what he was. He was like, and I'm not trying to say he's one thing or the other, but he was kind of like a more toned down country only version of Kid Rock.
That's a very good comparison.
If you take a lot of the rapish kind of R&B hip hop stuff out. It's, I don't know. And I feel like that's got a lot of merit. I feel like that's got a lot of legs. It could last if somebody did that well. So I mean, it's smart for Scott Kirkhart to be like, yeah, just do what you're doing. Like, I don't want to change you, in any way.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's I think he said that multiple times. Like, I don't want to make you steer down another avenue. But yeah, that was very cool.
Yeah, I feel like it's kind of, I don't know, you've been to jam nights. You've jammed, I'm sure, with new people, and it's been weird because you're trying to figure out A, the song, and B, where you fit in with these new people. Yeah. But like, I always come back to like one instance in my head where it was just like, oh, not everything fits, even though it's a jam night. Yeah. Like, you can't do like sweep picking through 3/4 of the song if you're playing Turn the Page, which is like, I don't know.
So it almost like forces you to.
You kind of have to.
Yeah.
Like you said, I wanted to do Jeremy justice. It's like, even if you still be you could like take a piece of what this Jeremy thing is and just make it your own. It's like, we'll make a pizza. It's like, all right, I made barbecue beef pizza, and somebody's like, what the hell are you talking about? Like, it's like, but hey, it's pizza, like, and it's, maybe you like barbecue beef pizza, like, that's, you still make it your own thing. And that's, I feel like that was always fun to do, but it's also kind of difficult to do that if you're trying to still fit someone else's mold.
Yeah. I don't know. And it just a little bit of added pressure because, of course, all the other instrumentalists he had recording on that. I mean, I knew all of them and live in the same town, so it was just, I don't know. I just got in my head quite a bit, but
no, I get it. Like, I play music with Jesse, and there's times where he'll have like session musicians in Nashville, like, write the lead parts and stuff on his songs, and it's just like, some songs you can get away without even attempting to play the lead. You just play whatever you want and it doesn't matter. But like, some of these songs is like, this is the through line of this.
Yeah,
this is
the key note.
This is the thing, like when they're not singing, when he's not singing the melody, this is the melody. So it's like, I have to play this part, but it's like,
nail that.
But there's other parts where it's like, oh, this part I don't really have to play just like the recording if I don't really want to.
Balance,
so I found the balance, where it's like, okay, I got to do the justice on the main riff, and I got to do the main lead. But like, I don't know, a lot of that came from like playing blues music and going to jams where I figured like, if you're playing like Jimi Hendrix stuff, if you just kind of get the beginning parts of like the solos and stuff, and you kind of just make the rest your own, and I don't know.
I always joke. So anybody that takes the music theory incredibly serious and counts and listens to every note in a ripping guitar solo, I always say the note you start on and the note you end on is what matters the most.
100%.
But I mean, like, in a way that's kind of true. It's like, oh, I don't know.
Dude, I mean, I used to be like, metal was the craziest. There's like no rules in metal. Everyone just plays fast as they want. But then you start to play like actual country and like chicken picking. You're like,
oh man,
there's no rules in country. This is all just like, we're just going to chromatic from here to there, and we're going to play parallel sixth and all these accidentals and stuff. And you're like, dude,
and
what?
It's its own madness, and it's its own outside of the box craziness that people might see metal as,
True. I guess. Damn.
I mean, I love the videos of watching the guys just like, they just record themselves chicken picking over a backing track, and they're just all over the guitar neck, and that stuff blows my mind, man. I think that's just as, if not more difficult than playing a blistering guitar solo with a bunch of distortion, because you don't have anything to hide behind.
Yeah, it's all control.
Yeah,
like bluegrass flat picking and stuff like those guys. Like, how are you going to play 16th notes through a whole song on a clean channel?
Yeah.
Okay, I guess. You know, one of the things that like, and this I talked about it in that solo episode we referenced, but like, I'm trying to learn new country licks and things like that, or how they see the fretboard and why they're doing the things they're doing. And sometimes that's all I need to is the explanation of like, I see you doing this, and you've explained it 40 times, but you don't tell me why you're doing it this way. And I remember one guy saying like, a lot of this is you're playing one string all the way up. So it's like you're just playing the G string. That's your like, in metal we would use the E string, usually the low E string. That's and if you're going to play stuff all the way up in a fashion like that, you go all the way up on the E string and kind of judge from there, especially like riff based stuff. That's kind of where it goes. But theirs is like G string, and they do the same thing, but they're doing G string, and then that's where the chicken picking comes in. The G is like their root, their little pluck. The thumb click, and then the plunks on the fingers are the other notes. So like, it's like, oh, okay, so there is actually some method to what's going on here. I have not figured it out yet, though,
No,
but that was the explanation where I was like,
me neither.
oh, this could be understandable at some point.
It makes sense in somebody's head, so it's got to make sense.
Somebody else can do it. So why can't
Somebody
I?
else can do it. You got to be able to.
Oh man. Okay, so here's another fun. I've posed this question before. When you were first learning guitar, did the difficulty of anything come into play? Because like I'm sure you were just like, well, this song's hard, obviously, and that song's hard. But like you said, if somebody else can play it, it's got to be able to be played. So was there part of that in you where you're just like, somebody's got to be able to play Metallica? Metallica plays Metallica, like, so it's got to be possible.
Well, yeah, absolutely. I guess so. When I went to Jeremy, he, like I said, he started showing me the tabs and everything, and the biggest thing is he'd show me the scales and all that, but then the last half of most of the lessons is I'd be like, hey, can you show me how to play this song? And I don't know, he would listen to it and then he'd tab it out for me on pencil and paper. Man, he was a saint for doing that.
What a madman!
So many times.
What a madman!
Oh man, but I don't know. I want to say a part of me thought it's like, well, if somebody can write it and record it and somebody can listen to it as Jeremy and then transcribe it on paper, I'm like, oh, this stuff's got to be doable to learn. But even now, like, I don't know, I still struggle with just the soloing in general. I mean, I'm pretty good with like 12-bar blues over a backing track, but I just always struggle with the ripping fast stuff. And then recently I've been listening to a bunch of bluegrass, so the chicken pick and everything, I've been really struggling with that stuff. But
dude, yeah.
But yeah.
I don't know. Playing fast is so difficult. The thing that got me to do it was using a metronome, because my brain,
yes.
I said it in the one episode, like my brain always wants to shift everything into thirds, like into triangle notes, so it's like triplets. So I always think of that because it just goes with blues, because those are the notes in between all of the regular stuff everyone's playing. Yep. So it just sounds good. But like then when somebody's just like, now do 16th, and you're like, like eventually, like my brain's just like, sweet, here we go. And then about 4 to 8 notes in, I'm just like back to doing triplets, because it's just where my brain goes. So like, playing fast is not something I am good at specifically, but like at the same time, when I was in a metal band, like playing with a metronome and doing that, where it's like I have to play it at this many beats per minute. The song's at that many, so you just chunk it up 10 at a time until you can kind of do it. The only downside is, like, I feel like, and I haven't done the research to tell you exactly what the numbers are, but like certain metal songs and things like that are at a certain BPM, and then like country's a little bit slower usually, but then that means if you want to play something that's like fast country standards, it's like, well, now we're doing like 16th triplets, and it's like that. Now that's really fast,
blistering,
because that's where all like the chicken picking dudes, like Ronley's doing that stuff. And
Ronley is, dude, I love that guy, man.
I love watching him play so much. I mean, I've told this story before, but like when I had him on the podcast the first time, because I was just like, sweet, he's gonna come over, and he's like, well, maybe we can jam a little bit. It's like, hell yeah, we can, And so I got him a guitar, and I plugged him into an amp, and I got the tones set up, and I went into the other room to get my guitar, and he's just like,
going crazy.
And I just like went back in the room with nothing. I'm like, we're not jamming, dude. Like, I'm sorry, I can't do anything for you.
Watch, but
yeah. I'll play the rhythm. How's that sound? Yeah. What key are you in? Yeah, like I don't know. It's just learning that stuff is fun, but like I think that's where half the challenge is. It's like, if you learned how to play like Slash and that was the end of it, you'd just be like, well, yeah, whatever.
Well, and that was me for a while, and I worshipped Appetite for Destruction, and I learned a handful of those songs inside and out, but that was like really all I was doing for a while, or focusing on basically guitar wise. And then that's when Jake came around, and he kind of showed me the more like, you could say metal-ish stuff or whatever, like the Metallica, and then the newer stuff like Avenged or bands like that. So then that kind of helped like open my mind to another thing. And then, doing stuff like with Brady, I played a couple of his shows. Like
Brady O'Brien live.
Yeah, shout out Brady. He's doing like, he wanted me to do a Michael Bublé song for one of his shows, and I'm like, Oh my God. I'm like, dude, I have no idea. I just wasn't comfortable doing it.
Yeah.
But then sitting down and, actually learning it, looked up the music, and shout out YouTube. I watched a bunch of videos and
thanks, Marty Schwartz.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, but then actually like some little things would click and I'm like, oh man. So then, go down those avenues. So yeah, it's just cool to have an open mind. Like, I don't know.
It's fun to have to realize that, I don't know, you had the epiphany to be like, oh, I'm listening to these things. Oh, this is a new thing. And then you actually had the realization to be like, oh, I need to have an open mind about this. Yeah. Where if you were just straightforward like normal and never just walked around with your ears plugged going la 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 la, you would never have heard any of those bands. Yeah. But let's kick it back to Guns N' Roses, Appetite for Destruction, favorite song. What's the favorite song on the album?
Oh man.
What's the one that you find yourself humming the most, or if you just picked up a guitar, you'd play it?
Two stick out to me, either Night Train or Out to Get Me. Night Train was the first. Crazy enough, Paradise City and Sweet Child of Mine, those are the two big
hooray
gun songs. Yeah, yep. But Night Train was the first one I actually learned on guitar. So
Night Train was is that the first song of the album?
I believe so. No. It is not. I think it's second. I cannot think of the first one though.
I'm not going to look it up. But anyways, yeah, I remember that was the song when I heard it. I was just like, these guys got a potty mouth. That was the one where I was just like, good Lord.
Yeah. Dude, I wish I could remember the name of that
just
song.
Dropping F-bombs.
It's a horrible,
right.
horrible, not bad. It's just, it's a very dirty song.
Mr. Brownstone was one of my favorite ones because it's like that. It's just such a nice little
awesome, just
riff.
Flows.
Yeah, it's so fun. That was the first one where I was just like, man, this one's fun. And I grew up in the time of the internet when you could bootleg things still. And I remember having a bootleg of Tenacious D playing live in Portland. I don't know where it came from. I don't know if it was ripped off of a DVD or what it was, but they were playing Mr. Brownstone on it once.
Really?
And I remember hearing that and just my brain exploded. I'm like, oh my God, they're playing Mr. Brownstone. And I don't know if you can imagine Tenacious D playing.
Yeah,
they're just dropping F-bombs left and right in there too. It's not a whole lot different than most Guns N' Roses songs, honestly, but it's crazy. So Kirkhart Project, we talked about that. Brady O'Brien live. Let's do a quick jaunt down that avenue. Were you in on the first couple shows he did or not?
No, he did. I want to say 2 shows. He did one show. And it went pretty good, but then he did a second one, and that was right during COVID. So he basically had I think he rented a church. I don't know if you can do that. Oh
yeah, that's right. It was at the.
Did you help with that?
No, I did not. But it was at that church that I think they were going to close down. Is that the one you're talking about?
Yes, and he live streamed it.
Yeah,
and I mean, and I was there for that, but no, I was not. I didn't play anything in it, but I can't even. I think the first one would have been. Well, the first show I played with him was out at the band shell.
Okay.
And then that was also kind of when me and Jake were like, all right, we should probably, do the Section 7 thing. I kind of pulled my head out of my butt. I was like, all right, we should do this again. Yeah. It was fun because he played in that too. And that was right up our alley. Brady's like, oh, I want to do a rock show. And Brady's like, do you think Jake would be down for it? I'm like, I think Jake would pay to do it because it was right up our alley. But
so I'm not gonna tell his story. Brady's gonna have to come on eventually, but the broad stroke is he would set up an event, and usually it would be mixed into a fundraiser for something, and Brady on the side does lights and things like that just for fun. And I say just for fun, but he's really good at it.
Oh yeah,
and now it's his job.
Yeah, he found the perfect job for him, man.
Yeah. So he's again, we're not going to tell all of his story. He's going to have to come on. But you were playing in on these shows. Absolutely. So you were in on a couple of these shows. I still remember the first one and just being I don't know what to expect here. I know Brady's good at doing stuff and he can do some production and make things look nice and stuff.
Oh, and he transcribes all the music for all the different vocalists and everybody playing. Yeah, I mean,
that's crazy.
He writes it all out and prints it. I'm like, good Lord, dude.
Wow. So and that's the thing. After you watch some videos from the first one and see photos, you're like, like, holy shit! Like
Yeah.
this is freaking crazy, dude. Like,
Dude, he is a wizard.
and then to find out that he's doing all that work on the back end to make it work, he's doing like production, all the production. It's like holy crap, and again now that's what he does for a job. So it's like kind of fun that he fell into that, and it's I think about that too. There's like a lot of people in the music scene that are just like, I like music and I play music, but I kind of like doing this too, and they're like adjacent, music scene adjacent. It's like a lot of the people I know that have recorded stuff for people are just like, maybe like pseudo professionally, or like these people. I mean, they've been in bands, they play instruments, but they're not really like out there playing music all the time. They like it, but they'll record everybody else's stuff. It's like, oh, okay, that's pretty cool. So I always thought that was kind of fun that he was like, that was kind of who he was, and he lends his talents when he needs to.
Well, then, he even like, I mean, the thing that kind of helped Section 7 get our name out there a little bit was we built a freaking stage, like right outside here. We built it, and then Brady was like, wow, I'd love to do like the lights and the production and so us doing all those ridiculous big shows, and Brady was doing all that stuff too. So and then it's perfect, like you said, just adjacent to
that's super
the
cool.
music aspect of it.
Yeah, because he's not foreign to what you guys like. You guys are up there doing your thing, and he's not going to get in the way, and he knows what's going to look good. Okay, all right, that makes sense. Dude,
so it worked out. Yeah,
that's super cool. That's I don't know. You guys, it's part of me is just like, I can't believe you guys are related, but it's like, obviously you guys are. So like, I don't know, but so you do the Brady O'Brien live thing, then you basically go back into the Section 7 full time. That's kind of what you're pushing a lot of, musically. You also had mentioned down here Jared Benson. Yeah, you playing music with Jared Benson too?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I had Jared reached out probably about a year ago now, and was asking if I wanted to do the downtown country jam with him. Cause, I don't remember who he said, but he had a bass player lined up, and they were double booked, I think. And he was like, "Well, would you want to play bass?" I'm like, "Yeah, I mean, downtown country jam, of course, of course, I want to do that."
Absolutely, that's wild.
But then, like you were saying earlier, so I was learning all of his songs and 2 or 3 cover songs, and initially, I mean, I just picked up the bass and like started playing songs I know how to play on guitar and just like transpose it over to a bass. And then as I'm playing along, I'm like, well, this doesn't sound quite right. So then I'm like, well, I'll pull up the Songster app, and look up the bass tab. And I'm like, oh, so they are doing something different than the guitars. And then it's the same thing as like seeing the guitar neck on the piano keys or vice versa. Like it just made me listen to everything just completely different. Now I hear the bass part and the guitar part, and how they come together to make the one song.
Oh, absolutely. Playing bass, it's so funny because like I always say, like any guitarist could play the bass and be pass. They could they could do it.
Pass as one.
Yeah, they could pass as a bassist. Sort of. Like just play the root notes.
Yeah.
But then you watch like other people play bass and I'm not trying to pick on anyone, but like Brad, he's good at playing bass. He's not like a shredder. He's so
perfect
in the pocket.
Yeah,
it's like, and he's doing more than just the root note, and it's like.
Exactly.
What? Sometimes I'm just like, I'm going to try and do what Brad's doing. It's like, this is harder than I thought it was.
Yeah. Well, it's like I was listening to Jared songs and don't quote. I'm pretty sure Alex Trevino recorded most of the bass tracks. And,
I think so.
I boost the subs so I could hear it, and I'd hear the bass lines. And I'm like, I don't know. I wouldn't even have thought of that like on a guitar.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Dude,
but it fits so perfectly. It just like blew my mind just when it clicked.
Yeah, being around people like that is fun because like Owen plays the bass. I would say Owen's in the same vein as Vino. They're like kind of jazz first bassists, and Owen played with Jesse Wilson for a while when we were playing together, and it's like I got to sit in on some of that. So it's
I love Owen.
It's fun to watch him play and be like, I would have never played the bass like that to this song, but it's super cool, and it kind of taught me that when I go to jam nights, it's like, oh, you have all of the luxury of the guitarist to do as much as you want to with this song.
Yeah.
You just have to make sure you're hitting. It almost comes back to what you said before. Like the first and the last note have to be the notes that are.
I mean, yeah,
that are good.
Yeah.
You know, like sometimes it's just like, well, here's the root, and then play whatever you want, and then there's the next root, and play whatever you want. You can kind of just start at the root and just do whatever, you know, or just kind of be like, as the riff goes, you have to end at the same spot they do, and you can kind of tinker your way to it in a different way. Going to jams taught me that. You know, it was at first it's all just root notes the whole way through, and then a couple songs in you start to get brave, and then about the time you're having fun, you're like, all right, Brad, take this thing away from me. I'm not a bassist. You know,
here you go, Jeremy. Here's your guitar.
Yeah, I don't know. That's some fun stuff. So like your opportunity to play with Jared was as a bassist. So are you playing bass with him live when you guys do? Have you done any other full?
Yeah, I mean, me and him talked, and he's like, if I don't know, I have a horribly busy schedule with work, unfortunately, and then Section 7 too. But I was like, dude, if you ever need me again, like, that was awesome, because it was very fun to play with Vino. And then funny enough, so Vino grew up right next door to my grandma's house.
Oh, cool.
And I was always, me and Brady were always over at my grandma's. So I remember like him and Caleb Ferry just like jamming out in the basement, just cool. Louder than all get out. And I will say though, when I said I never saw myself performing, like listening to just that, like I was like, all right, that's pretty cool. And then you see them all walk out and they'd all leave together. It's just like its own little clique. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Oh yeah,
you know, like a little group of guys just doing their thing. I was like, all right, that's pretty sweet,
dude. That's super cool. That reminds me, like when I was growing up, there was like, when I was a freshman, there was like a group of guys that had a band and they were seniors in our high school.
Okay.
And so like that was kind of like, you know, we were just like, whoa, these guys are super cool. Look at them go, you know, or whatever. And then when we were just like, well, let's all get instruments and we'll be the cool kids, you know, or whatever.
Yep.
And I don't know, like we weren't any cool at all, but like, but still, it was just like,
felt cool though.
It felt cool. Yeah, it felt real
all
cool.
That matters, man.
But like, yeah, it's like your own little clique. You guys have your own language of music where you can get together and do this. And it's like, oh, you can't do this because you don't know how to do this because we're doing, you know, or whatever. It's cool.
And the chemistry, like with the guys, man.
Yeah, you're just like extra good buddies. And it's just, it's hard to describe. That's why I like look at the Love Bomb guys. And I'm just like,
dude, they have the most perfect chemistry. They have everything nailed down perfectly, man.
Dude, I love those guys so much. One of my favorite parts about them was like, and this is something I've always like dug about bands, and it's probably from my young punk, you know, days or whatever, but it's like bands that would just kind of like rip on the audience. Like they'll go to shows and like rip on the audience. It's so funny. It's like, and
they're carrying the torch, dude. It's awesome.
It's so good. Oh, I love it. Yeah, it's so nice to know that they're out there like doing that thing, and you know, they've been welcomed in, even though they're literally not playing anything remotely close to what anyone else around here is playing. Although but
it's cool.
I love pop punk. It's like my favorite thing ever. You know, like it's what was on. That was what was on MTV when I was growing up. There was Newfound Glory and Blink 182, and you know, Yellow Card and Green Day and all that stuff. You know, Hot Topic was popular. Whatever, Warped Tour. It was that.
Dude,
era,
I wish I could have been alive to go to Warped Tour in its prime, or old enough to.
I'm regret never going, but at the same time, I went to so many concerts, like those big festivals. They're fun, but it's just like,
yeah, but I don't know, man. Like,
just to say you went,
just to say I went.
Yeah,
I'm sure by like day 2 or 3 and it's 110 and I've sweated out all the water and beer and everything, I'd be saying the same thing, but just to say I went. Like,
yeah. I remember when the last one was there was when like Three Finger Betty was really playing a lot of shows and doing stuff, and we were getting ready to release an album or an EP, and we actually like threw our names in the hat for like a competition to be like at the last Warped Tour. We obviously didn't go or win or anything, but like it was one of those things like, oh yeah, let's throw our name in the hat, be in the voting, and I don't remember what we got. It was like single digit votes, you know, but it's still like, hey, I was in a sweepstakes to maybe,
right on,
you know, possibly get to play at one of the, you know, I won a prize out of a Cracker Jack box that said no. But yeah, the Jared Benson stuff's super cool. Did you think after you left playing with Kirkhart, because you know you broke your hand, couldn't play anymore, Kirkhart still plays music, but like that project of that band kind of dissolved. So did you think after all that was over with that you were going to end up playing country music again?
No, I don't. Honestly, after that, I figured I'd just be out here just jamming by myself, man. I don't I don't know. Like I just like the jam, dude. I don't know. I don't want to be like, kind of like I was saying, I just don't see myself being like big and famous. Like the jam nights, I freaking love the jam nights. Like just jamming with everybody and just hearing how everybody else's like minds think, and then like comparing it, like, oh, I wouldn't have thought of that. But I don't know. I didn't think I would go like full country after Kirk Hart, but I'm not opposed to it at all. Like right around then is when I started listening to the bluegrass, I guess. And yeah, and that opened another avenue. And so I mean, I'm open to, I'll play anything. I'll learn anything. And like I like learning different genres. Like I was saying with Brady too, the Michael Bublé. Yeah, like jazz stuff. Like
it's not something you ever would have chose.
No, I never would have thought that. But yeah,
I feel like sometimes, and maybe this is tying too much back into the other episode, but like those are the opportunities where it's like this, I would have never chose this.
Yeah.
But because somebody asked and I said, sure, why not?
And then it ends up being,
now I'm better off.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
I don't know. I think about how many times, like you can never go back and change stuff. And it makes me think about how many times I said no, that I should have just said yes and broadened my horizons and been a better person for it. You know, you can't say yes to everything though. Also,
correct.
But I also do want to say, like, I mean, we're getting kind of close to the end of this, but like, did you see the thing online where Jared posted like some dude called him a creeper or whatever? Like, said
man,
dude, Jared Benson looks like the most normal person.
Dude, he's just like,
he's a regular guy, and I'm not trying to be like.
He's a good-looking guy, but he's just an average. Yeah, he's so out of pocket,
dude. It was so insane. The funniest thing I ever heard was there's this guy that I know that's like a kind of like a hip hop rap guy. He's got a podcast down in Des Moines. He's an interesting guy, but he says everyone on your podcast looks the same.
Really?
It's like slightly round faced white guys with a beard and a hat.
All right, fair enough.
And it's like, shit, that is all of us, you know. And guess what? Jared looks fine. He looks like all of us, you know.
Blends in with the rest of us.
It's like, it's so funny to see that online. It's like, I just want to be like, dude, like,
that was so. Yeah.
But it's also he's just owning it and loving it too, because he put it on, he screenshotted it and put it online. He's like, thanks, guy, I guess, you know. Like,
dude, his response was awesome, dude. Just like, play along, yeah. Thanks,
so
bro.
funny. I don't know. The internet's ruthless. Like, that reminds me of like I posted a reel and it was like whatever. A hot take about something like how band names are stupid. It's like, and I picked a couple bands that people yelled at me for, you know, whatever. But I was just like, band names really don't align too much. No. You know, like there's a few genres where like your band name has to be like, you know, the crestfallen wings of such an. It's like, okay, that's a prog metal band. You know, like okay, so there's a few that you can kind of get, but like some of them it's like Butthole Surfers. What are we going for here? You know, like I don't know. But I posted that online, and some dude was just like, you know, basically like, you're an idiot. This is not a hot take. You're just stupid and looking for clicks. And then I like posted like a paragraph of what I'm trying to explain, why justify.
Yeah.
And he just commented back, no one cares.
Yeah, so he didn't even read it then.
Dude, it's like, oh, I got burned twice by this guy. Like, oh.
Yeah, you got me twice.
The internet's ruthless. Internet is ruthless. All right. So anything I didn't talk about? I feel like we got most of the stuff in here, but any upcoming events, things like that, stuff you want to kind of point people towards?
Check out, I'll give him a shout out. Check out Jared's song again. He released it about a week ago, a little over a week ago, but kick-ass song. I think Jesse helped write it or did write it.
Yeah, they're co-writers on it.
Yeah, but man, it's an awesome song. So check that out.
Dude, that's fun because we play that in Jesse's band.
Do you? Okay, yeah.
And it's like slightly different, and that's where I think it's cool because like I'm pretty sure maybe give it a year, Jesse might try and record a different version.
That would be cool, dude. You know, and then like make it known that they're. Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry.
That's wild. I haven't heard a phone ring in a while. But yeah, it's pretty cool that
would be sweet if Jeremy recorded or Jesse recorded that.
Yeah, because they just have a different style of how they approach music, you know, and it's not always about the people that are writing and singing the song. It's like the 5 or 6 people surrounding them, how they decide, you know, they're going to play it too, you know.
And everybody brings their little
Yeah.
Yep. And that comes full circle. That's the best. It's full circle right back to what Scott told you. You got to bring what you've got because that's why they picked you.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So Jared's got that new song out. So check it out. That's called Again. It's totally worth checking out.
Yes, it is.
The funnest part about that was listening to it, and it's like, this isn't us playing it. This is really cool.
Dude, that's got to be wild. I never even thought about that.
Yeah. I've never heard Jared's version until it came out. And
that's
it was like,
crazy.
Oh, dang, this is a new take on how we were doing this.
Yeah.
But obviously, Section 7, you guys got upcoming shows, I'm sure.
I think just New Year's Eve we're playing at Rails in Eagle Grove. So
cool.
Come
that
party,
place.
man. We'll bring the party.
All right. There's going to be links down below for Jared Benson, and I'll put the Section 7 links right down there as well. And then that's pretty much it. You going to be, if Brady does any more live shows, is he going to, or does he think so? Or
Well,
if he does, are you going to play?
yes, I am. He posted something on Facebook, I want to say yesterday or the day before, about big things coming for a winter show or possibly. So I don't want to give anything away, but just stay tuned to Brady.
All right.
Yeah.
Awesome. So yeah, this is fun. This is one of those things where like we don't play together in any bands. We don't, this scene. There's not a whole lot of like sharing shows.
Yeah.
It's not like front half is this band, second half is that band. So that even lessens your chance of running into people.
Yes.
But dude, for as young as you are, and you're a hell of a guitar player. I just want to say that you're very talented.
Thank
So.
you.
I'm glad you're out there playing music with people and lending your talents to people, as you see they are fit. So I got to say thanks for joining me. And,
Dude, thanks for having me.
Yeah, check out all the links down below. Thanks, Mason.
Yeah, thank you.
There you go. All right, 279's in the bank. Mason was a good interview. This is super fun to talk to him. When I pulled up, he was playing Van Halen, which is like, okay, that's pretty cool, and to find out, he's, more than 10 years younger than me. It's like, wow, this, the O'Brien's got some talent. It's super fun to sit down and talk with Mason. He's done a lot in the short amount of time he's been playing music. Whether or not he's taking short breaks or not, but it's really kind of cool to kind of hear the story and see what he's got going on. He's got a lot left to go. I can't wait to maybe bring him back on later and see what else he's been up to, because he's done quite a bit. It's really kind of cool to hear these stories and to dig in a little bit on these people. Everyone's a lot more interesting than I always thought they ever would be. Every single time I interview somebody for the first time, I'm like, well, wow, that was pretty cool. Or like, whoa, I never would have guessed this about that person. So if you guys like this episode, go say hi to Mason next time you see him. Send it to somebody you know. Give it a like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. Thanks, Mason, for joining me on the podcast. Thank you to the Fort Dodge Fine Arts Association. And that's about it. audiblefarm.com for basically everything. Follow at Audible Farm basically everywhere. The shop is there for Audible Farm merch. There's also Audible Farm hats available. Just hit me up and I'll get you a hat at a show somewhere. I don't really want to ship them, but I see so many of you all the time anyways. So just say you go to this show, bring a hat, boom, there. That's how you do it. You get a hat. Those aren't in the shop, but otherwise Patreon, if you want to watch episodes a day early, go back and listen to some of the older episodes. I do definitely recommend going and listening to that Mike Schulte episode. That one's tons of fun if you want to just hear two guys hemming and hawing. Mike's got some fun stories. The Friendsgiving episode, you've got to listen to that one as well. Just absolutely off the hook. We're barely even talking about music. It's mostly talking about side dishes and things. I don't know. It's super funny. I thought it was fun anyway. So go check that one out. Next week we got another one coming up that I know you guys are going to love. So thank you guys for tuning in. I'll check you next week. Peace.